Yo guys, Gluten-Free EDC here. I'm Brian, your gluten-sensitive representative. Today I've got two for the price of one. I've got a premium knife, batting in at about $259, and then I've got a true budget under $100 at $59. A great buy, honestly. So first, I'm going to do a quick overview of each knife. So first things first, the Kunwu Chad. This is a large knife. The finishing is done really well. Not a bad knife overall in terms of finishing, guys. Pretty solid entry by Kunwu, the Chad. I gotta be honest with you guys, not a big fan of the axis lock in general. And this one is just far too light for me. There's just nothing there. It's so soft. So for me, that's kind of a no-go. But let's dive into the rest of the knife. I did want to get that out of the way with the axis lock, though. First thing that came to mind for me when I opened this knife up was this thumb stud. Really cool. I dig that. It aesthetically, I think, is pleasing. But then also on top of that, it's just very functional. So it's stepped down, you can see, with like those levels there. Pretty neat. It offers plenty of grip, like plenty of grip. Those are pretty sharp. And yeah, you can slow roll it out, nice and simple. You can flick it out, and you can get the reverse flick. I'm not great, especially on camera, but there you go. And yeah, so they did the axis lock in a similar manner with the stepping as the jimping, and it works really well. That last one you can see is pretty sharp enough that that will really catch, and then the added grip of the other two levels makes for really easy grip of that. So if you're gonna do an axis lock, that is a cool style to do it with for that added grip. Now, this one you can see is actually in an orange peel. That's a really cool finish to have on a knife, I always thought, or think I should say. So you could get it in the orange peel with a stonewash blade, which I think would be the way to go if you go for this knife. And then you have a satin finish with diamond plate kind of scale. That one is going to run you $269. I think they might have it eventually at Blade HQ for $259. It seems like either they're sold out or maybe they're coming out with more. It's not quite certain how that's playing out. They also have a carbon fiber satin DLC. That one is pretty interesting to me. So that one I believe is going to be $269 as well. That's the route to go, guys. So if you're gonna get this knife, carbon fiber satin DLC, the reason I say that is we're looking at an 8.7 inch overall length, 8.07. So basically an 8-inch overall length. That's a large knife. Then you have a 3.77 inch blade. Now, interesting that they say 3.77 inch because this one in particular that I have in is basically 3.5 inch on the nose. Then you have a handle thickness of 0.48 inches. This is a thick mama. This is where this knife really starts to lose me. So axis lock, I'm basically out. But then the handle, I think this was a miss. So ergo's fantastic, fits like a glove. Like, really like it. There's a lot of room up here for you to also hold up. And the sharpening choil, how they did that, it does meet up to the plunge grind. It looks like maybe that plunge is dipping in to that blade a little bit, so questionable. It might work fine though, but probably not going to need it because this is a crazy hard blade and is going to, yeah, it's a crazy hard blade. This is an interesting steel, and I think this is why the cost of this knife is what it is. It is PM60. Never even really heard of that, but it's coming in with an HRC of 66 to 69. That's wildly hard I've not seen other steels like that typically. The range is also interesting. I'm I'm curious why the range is so wide, 66 to 69. So we have a 3 HRC variant there, but it is what it is. Back to the handles. So you do have this cool milling around here, which is nice, and it does feel good in the hand. The ergos are fantastic, right? So I said it fits like a glove. So you've got that straight line, then the separate angle down, and then everything back here. It just works. I think the ergos are fantastic. However, this thing's weighing in at 4.76 ounces. It's ridiculous. That's unacceptable to me. $259. I would like it to be more around that golden ratio that we all think, like where the blade matches closer to the overall weight. And I think the miss here is actually, there appears to be a liner in there. That would make sense because it's an axis lock, and that's providing what the lock mechanism is riding against, right? So that's necessary, but what's not necessary is to have a lack of milled pockets anywhere in this guy. I'm glad that they went with the barrel screws to cut some weight, but so the barrel spacers, right? Like that's good. No back spacer taking up more room, adding more weight. But the lack of milling, come on. Like why not mill some pockets out and reduce some of this weight? These are thick slabs of titanium. They're milled out for the liners, but the liners themselves could have been milled out as well. So I think I would have liked to have seen that. Otherwise, decent knife. I do like that milling, and it does. I don't know if I pointed it out just before. It travels all the way up here and then stops around here. So you just have that milling going here, there, and around here. You do have the chamfer continuing, but not milled there. It's going to match on the other side. You have pretty cool pocket clip. Looks like it's going to work just fine. Not much surface area contacting there. Good spring retention. Yep. Should work pretty well. Deep enough carry that I think that's totally cool. So that is the Kunwu Chad. That's what I wanted to show there. I'll do a size comparison in just a minute. I do want to get the Kaviso Mini Keen. This comes in blue, black, or green aluminum scales. Really, really nice finishing on this knife. This one kind of blows me away. This one's $59. You're getting 14C28N aluminum scales. So yeah, it makes sense. But look at the finishing on these scales. Fantastically smooth. I think it's just well milled out everywhere. You do have a beautiful stone wash. I love a good stone wash. 14C28N, yeah, it's a budget steel, but the price totally makes sense. And honestly, you'll strap this thing back up on your palm or your jeans and it'll be totally fine. So, cool steel, it works. Now, not the craziest closing action in regard to a fall shut. However, it is very smooth. I do like that. You've got minimal jimping here, so kind of large jimps, right? If you can see that. I think they could have gone for one extra jimp, like right out towards the tip. However, it flies out. I think for what this is, really cool. We do see on the spine of the blade, R Laconico. That's for Ray Laconico. This is a Ray Laconico design. Really cool. So you've got the spear point blade, a full flat grind. Pretty sweet. You've got a flat up here. Sharpening choil and plunge work perfect. I think ergos are decent. Nothing crazy going on. It's a bit of a slope here, and then they angle down. A little bit of a slight indent here to get to the lock bar. Real quick, I do want to say the lock bar, it's, steel lock bar, so it's a little difficult to push over. The tension is a bit high, but it's a thin lock bar, so I think you have to go that route in order to have a solid lock bar, or lock up, I should say. And that's nested into the frame, really cool. So you have a liner lock on a $59 knife. That's done really well. This is coming in at 2.85 ounces. That's crazy because this is a 2.88 inch blade. So it's really right at that golden ratio that we all like. And then a 6.71 inch overall length. So this is a smaller knife. I think it's awesome. Like, this is a cool little gentleman's carry. I think this would make for a great gift. Just a great car knife. This is a cool knife. I like this one. For $59, I think they did really well. QSP is the OEM there. They killed it on this. I think fit and finish is fantastic. Design. The clip, pretty deep carry. Deep enough for me, like I usually say. Not too much surface area, so I imagine it'll work well. Great spring and retention. So I think this will be a solid knife. I would own this knife, absolutely. If you're in the market for a budget knife, you can't go wrong with this guy. So let's get some size comparisons out. I'm gonna line these two up, and I'll put some stuff in the middle. So first and foremost, we gotta have excuse me, the quiet carry waypoint, because why not? That's one of my favorites to compare to. So 3.25 inch blade, so that's what you're getting, about a 7 inch overall length. So you can see the differences there. Pretty cool. So in terms of height, we're definitely matching that just about. It's not quite as tall a blade or handle with regard to the quiet carry waypoint and Mini Keen. Another one I wanted to show, more for the Chad, the Kunwu Chad. So here's a 3.5 inch blade, and see, that's why I think it kind of matches there. And then you have a bit longer of a handle, but this is the Koenig Arius. This is the full size variant. This is one of my OG knives. Unlikely to leave my collection. So it was quite a bit bigger than this guy, right? And can't have one of my videos without one of my customs, because I love me my customs. This is a David Respect folder. So you can see this is a 3-inch blade. So quite a bit smaller than this guy. More in the realm of this guy. This one, for those of you still watching, I'm going to have a video up on this eventually. This is a new one that I added to my collection, and man, am I in love. That's it, guys. Hope you enjoyed Kunwu Chad. It's a decent knife. There's a lot of changes that I would like to see, especially with regard to weight reduction. I'm not the biggest fan of an axis lock, so there's a lot of bias going into that guy, as I am with big knives. The Kaviso Mini Keen, as far as a budget knife is concerned, I don't think you can go wrong. That's it, guys. It's been real. Hope you have enjoyed. Please leave a like and a comment. If you want to see more comment like that, David Respect soon to come. Please subscribe for more content that's to come. Take care.